As a reminder, this comedy series is for adults only. For example, during Tara's investigation, she learns somebody with a fake credit card bought an adult product. Gross. Tara decides to get it herself. Gross. Only she has a bad allergic reaction, even grosser. Later, she accidentally mixes it up with her sunscreen, so now her entire body is covered with this allergic stuff that gives her terrible rashes. Maybe Tara is not as professional as I first thought.
Argo Funk Book Review. Argo Funk Book Review.
Tara and Eddie are trying to catch Marcos Mendoza, a major criminal who specializes in money laundering and murder. The last special agent who investigated Mendoza is Nick Pratt. Nick turned traitor. He took a bribe from Mendoza, and now he's living the cushy life in Cancun, Mexico, outside of American jurisdiction. On the plus side, he correctly reported the bribe money on his tax form. Once a good IRS agent, always a good IRS agent. Mendoza's company runs a credit union, among other things. He uses it to identify potential victims. Tara meets with the Pokornis, who are a nice couple who run a bakery. Mendoza's bank denied them a loan, and now he's loan sharking them. When they miss a payment, he sends his thugs to destroy the bakery and put them in the hospital. Tara does adult activities with her boyfriend Brett, and she gets sad she can't tell him about her dangerous case. Eddie finds a P.O. box belonging to Mendoza's now-dead accountant. They stake out the post office for weeks. Tara finds it boring, but it's one of the funniest parts of the book. When Tara wears a nurse disguise, everybody asks her for medical advice. A man in a trench coat tries to do gross things. He fails horribly. Someone tries to rob her in a laundromat, not knowing she's a cop with a gun. She has fun stopping that criminal. The entire stakeout is a waste of time. The P.O. box forwards everything to a town near the border. Even worse, Tara gains a lot of weight from the stakeout. For the rest of the book, she switches to skinny, no-whip lattes in an attempt to lose weight. Obviously, having no lattes would help her stop weight gain, but that is not an option. Tara gets several phone calls from an unknown person. She's surprised to learn they're from Nick Pratt, the traitor agent. He never uses his own phone, because it could be traced. He borrows phones from other people so he can talk to Tara. Nick gives her a tip. The Trade Commission referred some credit card fraud cases, which have ties to Mendoza's bank. One of the victims is a hilariously sassy old woman. While they find one of the people who used a fake credit card, there's nothing to tie the crime back to Mendoza. They get another lead, which ends up being a dead end. Because we're still in the first half of the book, Tara can't solve the mystery that quickly. Mendoza uses legal racetrack gambling in order to find people to do illegal sports gambling. The entire thing's done by phone. The phone number and all the payments are routed through other countries to make them impossible to trace. Tara gets lice after trying on a hat in a thrift store. Mom suggests using mayonnaise on her hair. That's a terrible idea, which backfires. A dog later attacks her and licks her hair. Tara does plenty of adult activities with her boyfriend, but tensions rise when she's not able to take a vacation with him like she promised. He later appears on TV with reporter Trish LeGrand. Trish is trashy, and Brett doesn't mind her obvious flirting. Tara's pretty upset when she sees Brett playing with Trish in a wheelbarrow when they think nobody else is around. I think I saw the same love drama in a preschool playground. Halfway through the book, they switch to following Mendoza full-time. He mostly stays inside his home at Crescent Tower, which also houses his business offices. Occasionally, he leaves to visit a library. This results in Tara getting addicted to naughty romance audiobooks. It's funny, and it's also funny when her pregnancy disguise backfires. Mendoza realizes he's being followed. He threatens Eddie's family. Eddie is put into protective custody, and Tara is taken off the case. She's too stubborn to quit, though. Nick calls again. He says he's not a traitor. His cover was blown. Pretending to be a traitor was the only way to avoid being killed. He's still being constantly monitored by Mendoza's goons. Nick arranges to meet Tara in person on a beach. They'll pretend to be total strangers who meet casually. But, uh-oh, he's hot! Like, even better looking than the hunks in her romance novels. How can Tara resist a mega hunk who has so much in common with her? Nick explains how Mendoza's criminal enterprises work. Mendoza uses public library computers to avoid leaving potential evidence. Tara is forced to enlist the help of a fellow agent named Josh Schmidt. He's a major jerk, but he's also a lonely computer nerd. He leaps at the chance to help Tara. They get a judge's permission to use a keylogger on the Dallas library system. Note to self, never use public library computers ever again. Tara and her friend Christina smuggle Nick across the border back into the United States. It is unrealistically easy for them to get away with it. It's so easy, I wonder why Nick could not have done this himself sometime in the past 3 years. Nick stays at Tara's house. He and Brett have a standoff. Sorry, boys, you need to save the love triangle for the next book of the series. We gotta stop Mendoza. The computer library tap shows Mendoza is funneling millions through his latest puppet, a business called Claudia's Accounting Services. It also shows that Mendoza is going to flee the country soon. It takes our heroes a while to find Claudia. She's never met Mendoza in person, and he used a fake name whenever he contacted her, so there's not enough evidence to convict him. They set a very dangerous trap for Mendoza. Claudia tells Mendoza she's suspicious of his activities, and she won't follow his orders unless she gets a good explanation. He sends his thugs to deal with her. Tara and her friends arrest the thugs. One of them agrees to help in exchange for immunity. So when Mendoza calls, the thug says, Claudia offered double your payment in cash to leave her alone. Mendoza is forced to show up in person. Nick attacks him so ferociously, it looks like Nick is going to kill him. Tara puts an end to the fight by shooting Mendoza in a sensitive area. I'm pretty sure that still counts as police brutality. There's a happy ending as Mendoza is taken down for good, Nick returns to the IRS, and Tara can have normal lattes again. The end. Post-book follow-up. I thought this book was great. It's really funny as it goes all in with the ridiculous scenarios. That's the reason I love this series. All sorts of silly, ridiculous things happen to Tara. She keeps making bad decisions, which lead to humorous consequences. Somehow her total incompetence in these matters doesn't detract from the fact that she's still a kick-butt heroine. The comedy provides a nice balance to the more serious aspects of the book. Mendoza is a serious threat, which is made clear through encounters with his sympathetic victims. That provides an emotional backbone to the story. Not to mention, the book would probably be boring if there weren't comedy relief sections. There are 2 different stakeouts that go on for weeks. That's not an exciting setup. The joke interruptions really help spice things up. I like them better than the last book's stakeout, which also had some funny parts, but not as many and not as funny. On a negative note, I think Mendoza's scheme was a little too hard to understand for non-finance people like me. It took me a while to figure out how do I describe him in my summary. I didn't like the stuff with Brett, but I understand he is being set up to lose the love triangle, so it makes sense he's less than ideal this time around. I give Tara Holloway number 2, Death, Taxes, and a Skinny No Whip Latte a 9 out of 10.